The German government is still selling a lot of Bitcoin. It just sold over $900 million in Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Mt.Gox did not sell, but it moved over $2 billion in asset from one cold wallet to another. And even with all this crazy news, Bitcoin held and even went back towards the $57,000 again. So what's going to happen from now on? Let's talk about it in this video. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be analyzing and understanding everything that is going on between the German government, all the transfer that they are doing, Mt.Gox that is starting to move again these funds from one wallet to the other, still not selling, not dumping this Bitcoin, but just transferring from a cold storage wallet to another wallet, maybe preparing to refund people who lost funds back in 2014. And we're going to analyze Bitcoin and why it hasn't fallen even further below the $54,000. Let's start with the German government. They had sold, I think it was $75 million in Bitcoin, and now we just had another $900 million dumped in the market. Now, instead of just sending that to exchanges, Kraken, Bitstamp, and Coinbase, they also sent this money to two market makers. That makes it a little bit better than just to dump it on the market, but still $900 million in Bitcoin. And we still have 1.3 remaining in that wallet. So there's still $1.3 billion that the German government can still dump on the market. In this image, you can see all the transactions that this wallet, the German government wallet, did. And amongst that, there's one other address that we don't have any information on. We do believe that this wallet is also in custody of the German government, but it is the 139 PO address. This address received $40 million, 700 Bitcoin deposited to this wallet. And of course, we have the regulars. We have Coinbase, Bitstamp, and Kraken as receivers, but we also have Flow Traders, as we mentioned before, and Cumberland. These are two market makers that also received some of this Bitcoin. So overall, a total of 16,309 Bitcoin were sent across multiple transactions, of course, to these five addresses. So we have Kraken, Coinbase, and Bitstamp, and then we have the two market makers. And with the first round of selling pressure, we saw Bitcoin going from around 58,200 all the way to as low as 54,278. But now, with $900 million being sold, being dumped, we didn't see as much of a fall in Bitcoin price. We actually saw Bitcoin going back to 57,000 and then now going under 57,000 again, but still not even close to the $54,000 that we had last week. But the drop in price is still affected the market a lot. We've had in the past 24 hours, $328 million liquidated. A little bit more short, we had 112 long positions that were liquidated, and we had $215 million in short positions liquidated. So it is interesting to see there's still a lot of people shorting the market, and that makes the most of the liquidations being short positions, because Bitcoin actually went back a little bit towards the high 50s, so $57,000 more or less. And still on a lot of selling pressure news, we have here Mt.Gox, which just moved $2.7 billion in Bitcoin. We have here a tweet from Marcon, and they go through all the transactions, they go through all the information. So if you want to check it out, this is the image here. You can find the link on X. Just go to Arkham Intel, that is the handle, and there you can see all the updates on major wallets, on hacks, on everything blockchain related. That is very important news. They cover and they go over it because they keep track on blockchains and everything that is going on in the blockchain. So here we have a lot of information, just so we don't make the video too much long. I'm not going to go too much in detail, but this $2.7 billion is just part of the amount of money that people need to be refunded. That is closer to $9 billion. And that is a huge amount of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and other currencies that can be dumped in the market to repay users. So again, we have here a lot of money that could cause a lot of destruction price-wise for Bitcoin in the short term, or at least when these cryptos starts being sold for the repayment of the users affected. And even with all these news, bulls are still positive, still looking for that 60K. So there's a lot of new leverage positions on the long side, and that includes myself. Of course, if you remember, prior to this huge fall right here, I had opened two spreads on Ethereum and on Bitcoin for 65,000, I think, and for 3,000. So 65K for Bitcoin, 3,000 for Ethereum. And now I doubled down and I opened a $60,000 position for Bitcoin by end of the month. So I still believe that by, I think, the 26th, the expiration, I'm not really sure, but you can check right here on the charts. I even put this vertical dotted line is the day itself. Yes, it is the 26th, and the tip of the arrow is the strike that it needs to be above for me to be profitable. On this one, we actually are gonna more than double our money, because I think when I opened the position it was 126% ROI. So if this goes in our favor, and if Bitcoin climbs back up by 5.5%, so 5.5%, I think you can do that in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I don't know how long it is until end of the month, but if it happens to go above this, then I'll have more than double my money. And if it goes above the 65, I'll be even happier, because I'll have two positions that made me some cash. And despite the $53,000 being tested just on July 8th, so this Monday, we also saw in just 8 hours, so from $53,000 being tested, in 8 hours, we saw it test $58,000, liquidating a lot of short positions. So a 7% move in just a couple of hours, same day. So it wasn't an intraday thing. It was just same day, from morning to afternoon. We saw a 7% rally right after testing again the $54,000, 53,000 to be more exact. And this tells us two things. First of all, that the $54,000 now is a very strong support, because it tested again and it held. And second is that bulls are doing a lot now. So bulls are very, very strong, and that could positively affect the market, bringing Bitcoin back to the 60K by end of the month. And because the German government sold already more than half the amount of Bitcoin that they had in their wallets, this gives a silver lining for bulls. Now they see the glass half full kind of way. They see it more positive than they were before, because now they just have to wait for the rest of this Bitcoin to be dumped, and then we shouldn't have any more problems. Of course, there's still Mt.Gox that should be happening in this month or so. At least we think this is it. But again, if you look past the storm, you see that eventually, when all the selling pressure goes away, it will be left with a very good price to buy Bitcoin and just smooth selling ahead, because no one else is going to be dumping on us. And here we have a tweet from Rookie XBT, and I actually agree a little bit with what he says, is that Mt.Gox is not going to be so explicit on-chain transactions, mainly because it's not going to be just dumped over the counter as we think. So it's going to be a little bit anticlimactic, instead of how the German government is just dumping Bitcoin on top of everyone. Regarding the Ethereum ETF, a lot of people already sold the news. So after that, the bullishness just bring back up the price itself, just like we saw for the Bitcoin ETF. And third thing is, we also have FTX that eventually will have to repay. And I think that number is around $15 billion in fiat, and it will have to distribute that to people who were already into crypto. So even if it is fiat money, so not crypto, it will go to crypto people. And guess what? These guys have been on the sidelines. They've seen the Bitcoin ETF perform very, very well. They've seen meme coin season on Solana, on Blast, on Base. And now, guess what? If they get this money, if they get paid back, refunded from FTX, guess where they're going to go with this money? They're going to go back in crypto because of FOMO. And if you are very, very bullish and you think Trump is going to win the elections, this just brings a lot of positive news back to back to back by end of the year that, stacked up to each other, makes that bullishness that I usually talk about here in the channel. So I do agree with these tweets from Rookie, but what do you think? Are you on the same wavelength that I am and a lot of people are, of bullishness, a lot of bullish news or things that can happen by end of the year? Or do you just believe that the dumping from Mt.Gox, the German government, and eventually FTX will bring crypto even lower than we just saw? And even through all of this happening, the derivatives, so options and futures, didn't see a lot of change in premium. So the premium usually tends to go down a lot when the price itself drops a lot. Even with this dump that we had, it stayed solid at around 8% of annualized premium for futures. And as I said before, it tends to stay between the 5 to 15%, 15 being very, very good. So very, very high premiums. That also means high IV. But now we're looking at 8%, and it has been steady at 8% since the beginning of July, more or less. So this is good news in my opinion, because it means that people are still using derivatives and they're still having good premiums from using these derivatives. And of course, as always, if you want to do something like that, if you are bullish and you want to bet on Ethereum or Bitcoin going up by end of the year, by end of the month, by next week, whatever it is, you can go on Btopix.io. It's going to be the first link in the description. Right now we have very good spreads. You can go on the earn tab, and here you can have by end of the month, for example, a lot of very good and very profitable, in my opinion, spreads. For example, this vertical spread right here, if you believe by July 26 Bitcoin will be above 54k, which is a strong support, as we mentioned before, you're going to be making 20%. So guess what? You put here $100, you make $20 by end of the month. That is 20% ROI. And as we saw, we have a strong support at 54. Again, not financial advice, but you want to be even safer, we have a 50k. Bitcoin at 50k, I don't see it. And if Bitcoin stays above 50k by the 26th of July, you make 7%. And you can be even crazy just like me and go for the 60k, for example. So if Bitcoin goes towards the 60k and goes above the 60k by the 26th, I'll be making 130%. So I'm gonna double my money plus 30% on top of that. Meaning you put $100, you make 130. So you get back the 100 that you deposited as collateral plus 130. So $230 in your wallet. So I don't think it gets better than that. So of course, all my positions right now are in the red because of this huge dip, but I do believe that we can do the 62,000, the 3,500, and the 60,000 for Bitcoin. So this is what I'm hoping for, and I'll keep you posted on the situation for these options right here. And we also have the copy trading. The 0DTE has been performing very well. We have 34 users that are following and copy trading this strategy. You can see that I have a P&L of 7.15% in the past 30 days. From the $500 I entered with, now I have 535 and 75. And of course, after 7 days that you have deposited, you can request to withdraw that money. So if I wanted to, I could walk right now with 7% in my pocket. So if you want to check it out, again, first link in the description. And if you could be very kind to comment down below, it helps the channel to grow and it helps the channel to reach other people. So that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.